Hey Terry. Hey a quilter. Hello, how's it going? It's good to see you guys. I feel like it's been a long time. Have a nice long weekend. I just got back yesterday. How are you guys? What are you guys working on? Hi Louise. How are you? Hi Carol. Nice to see you guys. My throat is I'm just gonna warn you. I don't know why, it's just so touchy right now. I hope you can hear me okay. I'm gonna try not to yell. Let's see, maybe I can get my microphone a little closer. That better? So I'm going to, okay, by the way, I am Sarami. If you're new here, welcome. This is Sew Live, and I sew for you live or cut things out. Hi, Veronica. Just a muslin. Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. Yeah. So that's what I do. I just cut and sew and hang out with you guys. I typically make things the way I want to have it. So sometimes that means I'm doing things completely different than the pattern, which is, that's what we want to do, right? So the table looks kind of a mess here. Let me break up all this white. I have this shadow right here, and it's driving me crazy to get rid of. I have to do some crazy things to get rid of it, but I think I'm gonna pop over to my sewing machine today, which I never do from this table. So I'm going to set the lights up a little different. Hi, Elaine. So today I am making the new-ish Grainine Studio Uniform Tunic. This was featured in a book originally, and then they released it as a standalone pattern this summer, and I think it's really cute. I have had the comment from someone in real life that said, isn't that just like the Willow tank dress, basically? Hi, Muslin. And it is kind of similar to that. I totally get where they're coming from. But if you're not comfortable making those kinds of modifications, you might want this separate pattern. So, hi, Jill. Welcome. So I'm live streaming on Twitch and YouTube, so I should be able to see the chat from both. Sometimes one will fail and I don't see her. Hi, Betsy. Yeah, Betsy's like, bring on the 10-minute muslin. Truly, I mean, I really I don't talk a lot about how I do muslins because I don't want people to feel bad for making muslin out of real fabric because they don't want to spend the time on sewing something that they may not use. I totally understand that, but I'll give you some really good, compelling reasons why I do it this way. I really like it. Yeah, the pockets are really great. It also has a lapped side if you want that view. So, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. Just follow along here. I'm going to be doing a short sleeve cuffed version that they offered as kind of like a blog post. I'm going to be doing a dress length because this is tunic length. I'm going to be doing the V-neck, which is standard in the pattern, the overlapped side, which is standard in option 2 and 3, and I'm going to cut it on the bias, but mostly I'll probably only cut the bodice on the bias. So just because of fabric. If I can cut the skirt on the bias, I will, but also I don't really need the skirt on the bias. I'm just thinking because of my fabric choice, it might be nice to have a little extra drape. I also find most of the Grainine Studio armholes and sleeves are a little tight on me. Hi, Siobhan. Nice to see you. Hi, Cheyenne. I love that you're all saying hi. Thank you. I really like seeing you guys. I missed you guys. So I'm cutting the muslin out today, and I'm just going to use this fabric. I have some leftover bolts of fabric from chicken boots that they didn't sell, and they're just, like standalone fabrics. They're great for like what I use them for. Hi, Julia. I did. It was really mellow. We went to the coast where it was a lot cooler. We brought our dogs, which we've never done that before, which was really fun. We went to a really dog-friendly resort type place. I'm like standing off camera. Why am I standing off camera? Let me move over. The camera looks like it's pointing that way, so I feel like I have to keep going like this. But I can be like right here. So, yeah, but the dogs did really great. And because there's so many other people there with dogs, you know, it's like, you know, they are forgiven for a little bit of noise or whatever. Yeah, so when I sew a muslin, when I cut a muslin, I don't cut out all the pieces. I'm only going to cut out the bodice and the sleeves and the skirt. And for the skirt, I'm probably not going to cut it the way they have you, how it's going to be with the lap. I'm going to just do a continuous one, but maybe. The puppy was great. He does this little like when he sees another dog, like he gets really excited. He wants to play with them. That's kind of the only noise like that they did. And occasionally, you know, they would be like, there's a dog walking by, you know. Everybody needs to know there's a dog walking by. We want to play with the dog. But we took him to the beach. They were like, Molly's been to the beach. Our Shiba, she's a Shiba Inu cross or something. I don't know what she is. But the pug had never been to the beach. And he was a little like, I don't know about these waves, which was great. Because he's so little, he could instantly be swept away. The coast, Northern California coast beaches are not like Southern California beaches. I grew up in Southern California, and then I've lived in Northern California as an adult for a really long time. And the waves, I've been to the beach a lot. I grew up going to the beach constantly. I lived in my 20s, almost right on the beach. I've spent a lot of time there. And then in the North Coast, I went there a lot, but I knew it a lot, and it is very different. There's definitely a lot more dangerous possibility on the North Coast. It's not dangerous to go in the water. You just got to be aware. But there are rogue waves and things like that. Riptides, more common. Yes, there's sharks. Actually, my friend's husband was bit by a shark. He's a surfer. So there is a lot more to think about. I was not worried about a shark leaping out of the water and snatching my pug, I promise. I'm not like overly crazy like that. But I, was wondering, he loves the water. He'll go right into the creek, jumps. If you put a little tub of water on the ground, he jumps right in. I don't know I didn't know pugs were so water interested, but he really is. So that was kind of entertaining, you know. So I'm just checking out all my chats to see if I haven't missed anything there. Good. Yeah, this is the Amelia dress. It's bias cut, so you can use quilting cotton. And it's by Green Bee Patterns. I love this dress. I've probably made 5 of them. I like it a lot. It has pockets. Super easy. And I don't finish the seams either because it's on the bias, so they're all raw edges. I didn't even need to iron it today except for the pockets. And I just recently figured out I don't even need to unzip it. That was my only pet peeve about this dress, was that I had to get help sometimes getting in and out of it. And I don't need to because of the bias. So all this few years I've been wearing these, I didn't realize I could just put it on over my head, which is really funny. But I really like it. All right, so let's get going. So like I said, we're making the Uniform Tunic dress length, so I'm lengthening it. I'm adding a cuffed short sleeve option. Those are the 2 things I'm doing outside of the pattern, but it is in a blog post by Grainine Studio, and it's pretty close up to the top of there. It's actually not a blog post. It says pattern tutorials. That's where it's at. I find the sleeves and armholes a little tight with Grainine patterns for me, so what I think I'm going to do is stick with the original pattern because I'm cutting mine on the bias. That's my other thing I'm doing outside the pattern. I'm kind of hoping that will kind of take care of some of the tightness and mobility of the sleeve and the arm. And if it doesn't, I'm making a muslin, so then I'll know, right? And cutting it on the bias is going to add a whole nother layer of fit things to think about. So I think that having that muslin is going to be great. And when I cut and sew a muslin, it's quick. I don't finish the seams. I do not cut the facings. I don't hem it. I don't do any of the style, no pockets, no nothing. Unless you're interested to see how something goes together, or you want to try sewing it together because you've never sewn that together before. You want to know the dimensions of it, like is it going to work for you, like your hand width for a pocket. I do not sew any of those elements unless I want to know information about it. So this is why I advocate buying fabric you don't want to wear. I don't know, Muslin. I don't think so. Oh, will there be problems? No, I don't think so. I think honestly, I might have issues with the overlap being on the bias, because then it might overlap more on one side and less on the other. Hi, Ida. I saw your dog. It was your dog's birthday the other day. Yesterday. That's cute. You can get, if you're near kind of a big box fabric store like a Joann Fabrics, you can get muslin. You can get a whole bolt of it for probably $20 if you use their 40% off coupon. It's $1 a yard or something like that. There's no real reason except if you don't want to be throwing away something, which I totally understand. But you could use that muslin for other things. You can stuff it in a pillow that you're making. You can cut it up and use the pieces for something else. I don't pre-wash it either. So is it exactly how my garment's going to feel and look? No. But typically I'm using nicer fabric with more drape. So there's only going to be benefits. This is the fabric I plan to use on my final uniform tunic. It's really pretty. Got a blue background, floral, really simple. Make it all look nice. And then I'm just going to use this as a muslin because it's extra. So, and this actually feels a lot like muslin. It's actually organic cotton because it's by Cloud 9, and I use it as lining. Yeah, there you go, Muslin. Yeah, so I think like taking that off the table, because you don't want to invest time in finishing it, helps you look at it and focus on this as a muslin. And muslin is just a term for fabric, and it's another word for prototype. So a lot of people are like, I don't know what a muslin is. It's just a trial garment. That's it. So when someone says, I'm going to muslin that, or they also call it a toile, but that is typically not the term you hear in the United States. A lot of people use it here because they probably heard it first by someone overseas. At least that's what my impression is. I don't know where the term toile comes from except the fact that it's French. So it's called a muslin in college. And they, on your first day of school in design school, they give you a 30-yard roll of the worst muslin you could ever imagine. It's open weave. It's practically cheesecloth. But it gets the job done. You have no regrets. You drape with it. You do all kinds of stuff with it. And it's just, you run out, you get more. So it's just the thing you use. It's toile in Swedish. Yeah, there you go, Betsy. Yeah, that's great. That's a great idea. Because, old sheets, like, there's not a whole lot to do with old sheets. They always have that certain smell of old cotton, and you don't really want to use those for towels or whatever. So, yeah, I that's great. And it's a pretty tightly woven fabric, so you might get maybe something a little closer to a garment fabric. Not much though. All right, let's do that. Okay, so I pulled my pattern pieces that I'm only using for the muslin today. So see the skirt, can you see that angle? Because you overlap it like this. It's very subtle. You don't really see this in the pictures of it unless you see a side view or you're looking for it, and a lot of times because the pattern will obscure it or whatever. So when I lengthen this, I'm going to lengthen it from the top because I don't want to alter this line. But I'm going to do it in a certain way. Okay, so here's my bodice. And here's my sleeves. This is the only pieces I'm going to use for making the muslin. But first we're going to make our sleeve into a short sleeve cuffed number. And I really should probably be going a little faster just because so we have time to sew it up but you know, it won't take long. I'm hoping that there aren't any significant fit issues, because I really don't want to have to do major modifications without you guys. All right, so I'm gonna get my tracing wheel. Where's my tracing wheel? There it is. All right, so I use this really spiky thing to transfer my pattern pieces over. And, but you can alter your original pattern piece. You just need to tape some paper. And I'm not doing the cut line of the pattern. Like what I did was I cut off all the other sizes, and I'm making the size 12. So this just, all this does is perforate the fabric underneath. I'm mostly worried about my armhole being accurate and the cap. Well, that's weird. Why is that the back? That's so weird to see the back of the, actually this is the, I'm just willy-nilly transferring notches. These are the notches I want. Okay. And then I want this right here. I want to check something. I want to see if this grain line's in the middle. Wait a minute. The heck? Hi, world peace. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay, because typically this little notch right here is 1/4 of an inch to the front side of the sleeve from the middle. So, and usually the grain line's in the middle, but the grain line wasn't, so I was like, that's like more than an inch there. But that's okay. The grain line doesn't have to be in the middle. It's just kind of a typical thing to see, you know. All right, so we've got our sleeve transferred, and now I'm going to need to pencil for the underarms. And I'll use a Sharpie for the cap. I don't typically do pattern drafting with Sharpies. I'm usually a lot more precise. I need to transfer the grain line. I forgot. You need the grain line because you need to know A, where the grain line is, and B, you need a perpendicular line to the hem. And because I didn't transfer the hem over, I can't see where to put the perpendicular line. So there we go. There's our grain line. So let's see. How long do I want my sleeve? I think I'm gonna go with. I think I'm gonna go about 8 inches long. Let's see. So I'm gonna measure it from the cap seam line, not the, so seam allowance plus the 8 inches. And then I think the fold that they offer is 1.5 inches. So we're gonna do it twice here. So I'm gonna do this with pencil first, and then I'm gonna measure to make sure that I got this straight. So let's see, it's like 3 7/8. 3 7/8, perfect, okay. You know, you can do a perpendicular line with one of these rulers. It's not, you know, it's not perfect sometimes. So it's just good to be aware of that. All right, so there's 1.5 and 1.5. And then we're gonna add 3/4 of an inch for our hem and fold back right there. Now we're gonna go straight down, and I'm gonna see what's the, so it's 13 inches, and we made our, what sleeve did we make 12 inches in circumference? Was it my husband's? I can't remember. Or was that my short sleeve t-shirt, the knit one? I can't remember. Well, I'm gonna go straight down because they do, and this looks pretty close fitting on her, and she looks like she also has smaller arms than me. So I'm going to just square it straight down. I'm making a perpendicular line to this one here. Doesn't matter which one of these you pick. These are all parallel to each other and perpendicular to the grain line here. Grain lines are important with sleeves. You don't want your sleeve to feel like it's torquing. You don't want the pattern to be off. All right. I think I need to add, wait, do I have my 8 inches? Yeah. So I have a 1.5 inches here. There's all, that's my fold line. Fold line. So right here, this right here is your cuff. So this folds up all the way, and then you can fold up your cuff and it'll be nice and clean finished. And this is like your hem allowance here. I'm just gonna draw it all in black there. So there's my short sleeve with a cuff. Okay. So what's the other thing I'm doing? I'm doing a short sleeve and bias, right? And dress length. Right, that's it. Almost already forgot. All right, so let me get a bigger piece of paper here. I'll put my sleeve pattern away because I'm not going to be using it. So what are you guys working on? Hello, Olivia. Welcome. We're glad you're here. I can see you on Twitch. That's great. I'm glad the chat's working over there. I had some extra paper. So for her making a dress version, she says maybe make the bodice an inch longer, and she kind of does it above the line. She doesn't just add it to the bottom. And that is because she wanted to maintain the proportion of the overall tunic with the pockets and the lap side. I'm going to not add that inch quite yet, and it's basically because I tend to be a little short-waisted. So I'm just going to see how it goes with my muslin. This is the beauty of doing a muslin, is like, oh, do I really need to add that inch? Maybe I'll and then you do, and you're like, oh, I didn't even need to do it at all. So it's kind of nice to use the muslin to be like, oh, I do need it. So, oh, you made the, hi Felicity, you made the willow dress. It is cute. I feel like it's like the pattern envelope doesn't do it justice. Hi Jen. Oh, you're reworking some past sews. I do that all the time. Hi Sarah. Hi Carol. It has side twists at the bottom. What does that mean? Oh, you're gonna do the Charlie Kaftan. Awesome, Sarah. I have a few of those. I really like that dress. That's like, I almost put that on today. It's kind of like the, I feel like being able to eat ice cream all day kind of dress. It's very comfortable. Okay, let me see here. I'm going to transfer my, this isn't going to be a big enough piece of paper though. This is what I'll use. This is all the paper that is extra from my PDF patterns that I have printed. It's exactly the kind of pattern paper I typically use, only because I have a lot of it, because it's from my plotter. I've never hooked my plotter up since moving here. So it did, Miriam. Everyone, Miriam says her Kilo wrap dress came out. So you ended up going a size up, and you ended up using non-stretch, right? And it worked? That's awesome. Ooh, Muslin, that sounds nice. Oh, I saw that. So I saw that alter it August. You're knitting a shawl, Louise, for a gift? That's really nice of you. That's a lot of work. That's awesome. Yeah, Sarah, I know that waist high. Are you doing the gathered one or the pleated one? Hi, Jan. Where's Jan? I didn't see her. Where is she? Oh, Jen. Oh, you're mending. Yeah, that was Jan. Exactly. Okay. You're knitting the featherweight cardigan? I think I've made that one. Julia's saying hi to Miriam and Olivia. There's 3 of you over there. All of you need to chat in there. I need to make that thing, that little accomplishment. That's awesome. So it worked. Oh, I haven't seen the picture. I was barely on Instagram this weekend because I was out of town. I was casting spells on my Harry Potter Wizards Unite app instead. It was so funny. I sent a picture of, for those of you who play that game, I think basically it's Muslin and I. I sent a picture, a screenshot of where I was at, and it was like, Muslin, there was like a billion things right where I was standing to like cast spells at and collect. I was like, what the heck? There's nothing here. And there's a billion. I was like, there's no way I had enough spell energy. All right, sorry, I'm dilly-dallying here. Okay, wait. I'll do this from the bottom, and I'll show you how I'm gonna do it. Let me just transfer my pattern. It's better if you're doing something like this, if your pattern's kind of wrinkly, it's good to iron it out because there can be a little bit of inaccuracies doing this where I'm trying to deal with the wrinkly paper, you know? Ida, awesome. Yay, Wizards Unite. Getting the hang of tagging. Yeah. It's kind of nice. You can actually see if someone's in the chat in Twitch by trying to tag them. That's the only way, unless you are I think if you're on the phone. Okay, this one is the front. Using my grain line ruler here. Okay. Is that a straight line? Looks like it. Using my grain line ruler so I don't get ink on my other one. That's why it says grain lines. This is the ruler I run my Sharpie along, and I don't worry about it getting dirty because my hands are going to get filthy today. You know, the ink just sits on the plastic. So, oh shoot. Okay, here's our front. Do you just mute one? How is the lag? Yeah, no. Twitch is much quicker. Yeah, so she's watching YouTube because there's more people over here chatting, but Twitch is so much faster. Yeah. Yeah, so there's like a 8-second delay or 5-second delay on YouTube that's standard. And on Twitch you can pinch zoom, and the quality's a tiny bit better. But everyone, you know, everyone knows YouTube, so it's just how it is. Okay, I'm going to transfer this guy here. And once I make these changes, we'll cut it out in the muslin. Oh gosh, I'm going to cover up my ring is angry at me again. Yeah. 30 seconds, Julia? Really? That might be internet. That's crazy. That would be a bummer. 30 seconds is a long time. Because sometimes you guys will be like, you know, you'll ask me something and I'm like, what are you guys talking about? And it happened a long time ago. Or I'm waiting for you to respond like, okay, how does this look, you guys? Okay, this is on the fold. So that's the center. I was just really naughty and didn't transfer my markings over, so that was bad. Don't forget your markings. So you have a double notch right here for the center back. You have these, you have a circle here, and I'm pretty sure, oh, the other one has a circle and a notch. So we'll do that in a second. All right, so we're gonna add our 8 inches to the length. And again, like this is a muslin, so we'll see if that's enough or too much for me. I don't know how tall the gal who has been posting, I think it's Jen Beeman from Grainine Studio, right, is her name, and she's the owner. I'm not sure how tall she is, but she looks taller than me. I'm almost 5'5". I'm like 5'4", plus a little bit. You've done Periscope. Yeah, I've seen Periscope. Yeah. Right, exactly. I know, it does. It takes a little while. But like, what are you guys doing? No one responds. I'm like, okay, I'll move on to something else. Okay, so you can't just take this line straight down, you guys, because what happens is, so it's really tempting, right? If you are just gonna lengthen this 8 inches, you're like, I just want it 8 inches longer. Right, well, if you just continued this line to here, what would end up happening is your hem around would be 9 inches, whereas before when it was shorter, it was 10 3/4. You lose 1 3/4 inches. It doesn't even look like it, does it? So what you can do is do this. Like take your ruler and look at this point right here and transfer it down there, and then draw a new line. My ruler is not quite long enough, so I'm going to cheat and kind of eyeball the line here. The other thing you can do is lay your pattern piece on here, 8 inches down, and transfer it, and then redraw your line. All right. So now she doesn't. So now this is curious. No, this group, Sarah, is not representative of average anything. Everybody is average. So I feel like what I'm about to learn with my muslin, I'm calling it now, is that this slit is way too big for me. So let's see. So it's like this. This is the back. Let's see. This is the front. So we'll hope that the shoulder line goes there. This bodice line goes right here. So that means that this skirt is starting, you know, it's starting right here, like this. So if I put this slit, I'm basically slitting this up to my waist. We probably don't want to do that, so I probably shouldn't do this little cute little overlap unless what I do is make sure that I extend this waistline and it overlaps quite a bit for a really long time. Does that make sense? So what we can do is, if I wasn't making a muslin, I'd be really, really picky about like where I thought this was. Okay, so basically the dot right here on the pattern looks like it represents the seam line, and this notch I'm imagining represents where you line up your skirt. So that's the overlap. So basically this overlap only happens for like 4 or 5 inches on me. That's still not quite enough. So what I could do is I can extend it so that it overlaps, you know, like quite a bit, like this. So that up here it's overlapping and I'm not putting a slit up to my navel, basically. Right? So it could be it could be not the greatest idea to do this overlap version, you know. Or what I could do is I could do a fake overlap. Have to think about this. So maybe doing this muslin, I'll be able to figure out how I want to do it, because I really like the overlap. I think it's really cute, but maybe it's for another version another time, you know? And maybe I do a side slit instead. So I think a side slit could be cute. Yeah. Yeah, Muslin, that's kind of me too. My legs aren't really long, but definitely shorter torsoed. It's funny because my daughter is a little taller than me, but she likes my driver's seat closer to the steering wheel. Or further away, is it, I think? I can't remember how it is, but it's different. Okay, so what do we think here? So if we line up these circles, it's not much. And my problem with just doing a really huge overlap is because I'm planning on cutting this on the bias. I probably wouldn't be wide enough. The fabric won't be wide enough on the bias to do that. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, Muslin. I think lengthening the bodice would be a good idea in this case because of this. But I don't want to lengthen it too much because I do like where the line sits. I wanted to lay this pattern on the willow tank dress because it's got to be really similar. This is a pretty narrow shoulder seam, you know. So maybe what I'll do is I'm going to keep this, but I'm going to extend this maybe 2 inches as a start. And then we'll extend the other one 2 inches as well. So I basically just overlapped it by, added 4 inches of overlap. I don't want my side seam to change, so I'm going to find this little point here. I'm lining up my center front there. And I'm gonna blend it in like that. Okay, so here's my back. Split the skirt in 2 then. What do you mean? This is a front and a back skirt, so it is in 2 if you mean that way, but I don't think you mean that way. Let's see here. All right. So let's do my, bring my point down here. And we're gonna eyeball this to that original point up there. See, I'll show you why, like, see how my ruler, all that ink, maybe you can't see that, but there's all this ink on there. It gets all over my hands. It's gonna take a piece of paper. Straight skirt at the bottom and a fold over part at the bottom. I'm still not. Why am I not getting what you're saying? Let's see. Straight skirt at the bottom. Fold over. Then you still get the bodice line. Floor slides up. Or lengthen the bodice part a lot and keep the skirt part. Oh, right. Yeah, like basically just move the skirt to the bottom of the whole dress. I like the proportions of it right now. But you totally could do that. That would be cute. I mean, it instead of having your slit at the back to be able to walk upstairs, you'd have it on the side, which would work. All right, let me add my 2 inches here. Definitely doing, very quick pattern drafting. If I were doing this professionally, I would do it a little nicer. But, it's also a muslin, right? All right, so now we have our trial. And it's going to fold, let's see, we have skirt back. We have, so you would leave these same markings. Okay. So there's your circle. You're still gonna line them up. All you did was create more overlap, so you just keep the same overlap point. Don't overthink that. You can kind of drive yourself crazy overthinking things in pattern drafting. It's kind of why I get really nervous thinking about, like, when I think about my stream, I think about, what do you guys want? What do you guys want to see? I know what you guys want. And it scares me. It's like, oh man, I don't know if I could do, like, we could totally do a series of a custom block making, right? That's what you want. You want perfect fitting garments, right? Don't we all? But without going into like 2 years of fashion design, you know, pattern drafting, you want reality. You don't want perfect fitting garments on you, Miriam? Yes, you do. That is reality. You would like ready to wear the mess that happens when you buy ready to wear. But, you know, it's like it makes me a little nervous to like commit to doing something like that, because I'm not a teacher, you know, learning how to be a teacher. I'm not trying to brag, you guys, but I really get pattern drafting, and I feel like that's what makes it hard for me to teach it. Oh, well, you just need to tune in more often for that, Miriam. Miriam in Twitch says, I like to see the, oh shit, it didn't work out, let's fix it. Yeah, you just need to tune in more often. That happens here. All right, so one of the challenges was cutting something out on the bias when the pattern is cut on the fold is you've got to open out your fabric, you know. So I'm just gonna cut a chunk of my fabric off. It's fine, I have tons of it. That way I can open it up and not worry about it. I can always put it back on the bolt. I haven't cut fabric with scissors in a really long time. That was a really terrible experience. Okay. Like, I would love to do pattern workshops and stuff, and like how to fit something. Am I still buying bolts of fabric? What do you mean? I have bolts of fabrics, girl. No, you just missed. I said it at the beginning. I still have fabric that didn't sell when I closed Chicken Boots. Yeah, it's left from the business. So like this in particular was the lining of Aviary. Fantastic group, fantastic fabric, but the lining on its own is kind of like meh. And that's kind of typically what I always did. I always picked a lining that was a little less distracting than the outer fabric, so that it created good contrast. Sometimes I picked crazy linings. Yeah, the border print's really cute. It's a Cloud 9 organic cotton print. All right, so let me get these out of my way. The air conditioning's on, so I didn't really want to put that over there. All right, so I ended up picking up this fabric because I was like, oh, these dots are like dot paper. If you guys know what dot paper is for pattern drafting, it's actually really handy. All right, so this is my non-lengthened bodice. Okay, I have to admit to you right now, I'm not laying this fabric out very good. Just because it's muslin, it doesn't mean that I wouldn't be really careful with how I'm using it. I'm not wasteful. It's just really awkward to cut out anything on this table. I'm just making sure there's nothing under there. I don't want to cut up what I just drafted. Yeah. Okay, so I've got my fabric folded on the bias. I can see the fold line right here of the original bolt. I'm keeping this line pretty parallel. Now when you're cutting on the bias, I'm cutting this on the true bias right now, which means it's almost perfectly 45 degrees to the length grain. The length grain is your selvage and your fold if it's on a bolt. If you're pre-washing your fabric, you've lost the fold, so you go by the selvage. Anything not on the length grain, even if it's just a little bit off kilter, is still bias. Do as I say, not as I do. Exactly. Bias is very, you know, it uses fabric. Where's my knife? I brought one over here with a good blade. Oh no, I didn't. Did I not bring it over here? Oh, I didn't. I'll be right back. Sorry, guys. Every time I stream at this table, I think this is the day I'm never going to have to walk away from the camera. No, I didn't sound rude at all. Hi, Unica. How's it going? You're learning to sew? Awesome. Welcome to the rabbit hole. I'm kind of doing a kind of an ambitious project today. I'm doing the Uniform Tunic by Grainine. That in itself is not an ambitious, I'm not calling that ambitious. I feel like that's a really great middle of the road project to sew. But I am cutting it on the bias, and I added a short sleeve a little bit ago too. All right, so we have our front cut. I'm going to, or our back, sorry. Put my notches in. Notches. Notch. All right, so we're sewing a muslin, so we don't really need to go overboard with cutting everything out. Just a little bit here and there. So I'm doing the bodice, the skirt, and the sleeve, and that's it. No facings, no pockets. Let's see. Every time I cut bias, I'm like, okay, wait. I have a trick for this part. Which part do I go do now? Right, I do. Let's see. So if you're ever cutting something on the bias, this is not a tutorial on how to do that. I say that because there is some trickiness that happens with the print of your fabric, and there's nothing like, you don't sometimes notice it because, you know, that floral print fabric I showed you earlier, that's not such a big deal. If it's one way, it's one way, you know, like I can deal with that. But like a couple years ago, I sewed a novelty dress, and I've told you guys about this before because I sewed it in this pattern here. Hi, Tracy. I feel like my fabric is a little too, this isn't my fabric, but my fabric that I picked could be a little drapier. And I think that just cutting it on the bias will help that. Plus, some of the Grainine patterns, the armhole and the sleeve are a little tight on me. So I thought that would help as well. You're making a blanket and you're designing dresses for drag? Nice. That's awesome. I love it. Okay. So the reason I was saying that is, now I haven't checked, but why I want to say that is sometimes your print, like when you guys have probably seen when I've worn this dress in the bird print, it's blue and white and it's got those like swallows going across it. That's a really good example because it was one way and the print had the birds diagonal until it was on the bias, then the birds flew straight across. That's awesome, Unica. It probably is better to sew clothes for yourself because that way you have more options, right? And you can make them fit you. You can do whatever you want then. You'll have all the skills. So what I think I had to cut that bodice out twice because I cut one out and I was like, all right, great, the birds are going this way. And then I cut the other one and the birds were going this way. Because the bias can be all different. Like, it was still on the true bias, but you know, it's kind of hard to explain, but you got to pay attention to the print, especially when you do something on the fold like this. This one isn't on the fold, it's got seams, you know? Awesome, I'm glad, Unica. I'm usually live on Wednesdays to cut something out, and then Thursday and Saturday we usually sew it up. This summer I've been a little all over the place. I had some really bad allergies that my chat witnessed. It was pretty ugly. I almost died live on camera. So and then I went out of town last weekend, and I figure a lot of people are kind of taking it either a little easier in the summer and they're out of schedule anyway, or taking vacation, so I'm going to allow myself that. So I think my schedule will be pretty consistent from here on out. School starts pretty soon here too. I don't know about where for a lot of you, and if that affects a lot of your schedules, but it affects mine. But I do like to sew all kinds of stuff. We did a menswear shirt last week. We'll do bags. I'm just hacking off pieces of this fabric to get out of my way. Here is my front on the fold, and now we're gonna mark some of the things we need. So just because I don't do facings and things, you have to do the dart. Awesome. Yeah, so we're here Thursdays and Saturdays at 11 a.m. Pacific, and Wednesdays. We've been doing a lot of Wednesdays, huh, guys, since I moved into this space. Now that I have space for a cutting table, it really helps. We do pattern streams and cutting streams and sewing, all kinds of stuff. I like things with structure. I like dresses. I'm a trained pattern drafter. I used to work in the garment industry, doing all kinds of kooky stuff. All right, so let's see if let's get my sleeves on here, and then we're gonna see if I can get actually fit my skirt on here. I might not be able to. You never know. And just so you know, Unica, I stream live on 2 platforms, so sometimes it looks like I'm talking to imaginary people. You never know, I might be. I remember the first time I learned what drag was. And this is kind of a funny story. I went to the movies with a guy that I wasn't dating or anything like that. We were both runners, and we met each other at running races consistently, and we were in the same age bracket. He was in a committed relationship with a gal, but we would hang out, chill. We went to the movies once, and we went to see, what was it, Casino? And there's a pretty strong scene at the beginning of that movie, and he said, I can't watch this with you. He was very Christian. It really made him uncomfortable. And I was like, oh, okay, we can leave. And so we went out in the lobby and we asked for another movie. And they were like, well, these are your choices. And one of them was Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. And I was like, what's that about? And they were like, drag queens. I thought it meant that they meant drag racing. That's how naive I was. I was probably 19 years old. And I was like, okay. You know, I was like, whatever. He was down for that. And so I don't know if any of you have seen Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. I love that movie. It's so amazing. Well, afterward, he basically said, I am never spending any time with you ever again. I was like, okay. It's like, hey. That was pretty funny. And he didn't. He said a few other choice things to me, so it wasn't any love lost on my part. But I was definitely a really bad human being by the end of it, in his eyes. I thought it was such an excellent movie. Excellent story. It was really good. All right, so let's do our little fold line notches. Yes, I'm notching with my rotary knife. I don't always recommend this. I'm sewing a muslin, which means I'm making a prototype. It's not a big deal. Yeah, it was pretty funny. Yeah, it was totally my fault, Miriam, exactly. I don't know why he sat through that movie. I don't know if he just felt like he couldn't, which is a shame. You know, I feel bad that he went through that movie and it was really uncomfortable for him. He could have just said, I'm sorry, this is not for me. It's just not tonight. See you later. I would have been like, okay. You know, I'm pretty easygoing. I didn't need to hear what a terrible human being I was, basically a heathen, and such a bad influence afterward because I enjoyed that movie, you know? Yeah, that's exactly it, Miriam. I was an evil temptress who dragged, pun intended, him into sin. That's exactly what he said. Exactly. Yeah, it was, oh, you never know. I mean, I wished him all the best, but I definitely, like, was like, I stood up for myself and just saying, yeah, you don't need to talk to me like that. I'm not a bad human being. It's a movie, dude. I'm sorry it made you uncomfortable. It was a really good plot, too. Really touching plot about a dad reconnecting to his son. It was such a good story. I really related to it. Like, my dad left when I was a kid, you know? Like, okay. Yeah. At least in a way, you know, in some ways I kind of like the old days where we didn't have like cell phones and Facebook and Google, because in a way, like, you can't, like, once you know someone and they're like, they've at all entered your life on your phone somehow, you still see them here and there, right? Like, I don't even remember his name, you know? Exactly. And yeah, so it's like, I'm kind of glad, like, I could, it's like in a way back then you could just part ways and be like, yo, good luck. You know what I mean? And just, and it be like that. You don't have to like run into people on the internet ever again. I miss those days, you know? I mean, it's not to say that like my high school reunion committee isn't going to connect me with some of those people, right? But you know what, you guys, I should have measured how big of a chunk I cut off, because it would have been good to know kind of where I was at, because I am literally just willy-nilly cutting this right now. But I can totally get my skirt on here, no problem, right? Reunions are really good, Miriam. I'm serious. Yeah, exactly, Jen. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I've been forced to go to my reunions by like my childhood sweetheart best friend, and I'm glad he really pushed me to go and be a part of it, because in a way it's kind of great to see all of those people not as their high school selves and be like, yeah, we all grew up. We were all kind of dumb back then, and you know, it's kind of interesting to see us grow out of that, you know, and in a way also see the human side of life. I really think that's great, you know. But my 30 year is coming up in September, and I'm gonna have to go, and I'm already trying to figure out a way to get out of it. What is this? Not, these are my pocket notches. All right, I was steering you guys awry when I said that this was some that was this. These are pocket notches. Not gonna notch those. Okay, so what do I have so far? I have, that's my front skirt, right? Yeah. Maybe the 50th year you'll go, Miriam? It's going to be a small crowd by then. Your studio neighbor at Western Avenue did drag and makeup for other artists. Mark especially was Barbara Streisand, and when I met her, I absolutely blown away. Her stage name is I'm a Bitch. Oh, that's awesome. I think when you see anyone fully embracing who they are, it's pretty powerful no matter what it is. And it definitely leaves an impression, and it sticks with you forever. it definitely makes me go, okay, I could do better being myself. You know what I mean? Like, I think we can always do better trying to be ourselves, right? But because we think we're being ourselves sometimes, and then we're like, oh, I could do better. Jan, I'm making a dress version. Yeah, so there is a dress version in their pattern tutorials. I just like dresses. You have no interest in your school reunions, Louise? Fair enough. And you know what? I wouldn't go if I wasn't strongly encouraged by my friend. Basically, he's like, here's your hotel room. These are good tickets, airplane tickets to buy, and I've signed you up for this committee. I mean, it's like, he's like, you're not coming. So, and we're close. So. But I feel that way too. In fact, when I see how some of them comment on Facebook, I just think, I don't know. I just want to be with people that actually want to connect, like, and listen, you know? Ooh, I didn't cut off my extra. Oh no, I didn't. I put my extra here, this 2-inch extra overlap in pencil. You guys, I really do think I just made a dress with a slit up to my navel. But we'll see. Right. Free the dresses. What's that one? What's that hashtag for? Okay, so I'm keeping my little circle notch and my center back notch. Double notches, usually almost 100%. I would stake a lot on it. A double notch means back, okay? So that's why I know I can set aside this pattern and not be confused, because I have this double notch here. Right here, it signifies that that's the back. Yeah, I would definitely did not plan. And you know, the thing is, like, when my first reunion came out, I swear that was like within a couple of years of when Facebook did too. When did Facebook come out? They just told me yesterday that I had my 11-year anniversary of being on there, and I'm not really on there, but I thought that was interesting. I was like, 11 years, huh? Feels like longer. Okay, these are all scraps. So we now have our pieces to sew muslin. I know Betsy's like, I've got my timer out, 10 minutes. So I need to convert my stream to go over to my sewing machine right now. We never done this before, where I usually do the pattern side, and then tomorrow I would just set this up without you guys watching. So you're gonna have to bear with me. I have to move one camera and my microphone. So just a second. In fact, I'll probably do, I need an intermission screen. So I'm gonna do my project thumbnail. So I'll be right back, okay? Don't go anywhere. Yo! Okay. Let me, tell me, are you guys chatting? Oh, to get the people to wear all the dresses they made. Clever. Okay, let me unzoom myself because I feel really close to you right now. Okay, let's see. Let's brighten this up a little bit. Betsy's got her timer out. Oh, my fabric knife. Yeah, it's a rotary cutter. So, it's like basically like a pizza knife, but way sharper. Don't cut pizza with it. It just is really nice because you don't have to pin your stuff to the fabric and then use scissors, but a lot of people like to do that too. But you do need a rotary cutting mat underneath. A lot of them are self-healing. Mine is considered self-healing, but you do still see tiny little bits of grooves. Yeah, I have it down, Louise. I have it down. I'm quick now. Oh, that's awesome, Miriam. Hopefully you can go live at the end of the week. And you go, what do you mean? Are you streaming too? Julia. Okay, you guys. Betsy's got her, like, she's probably already started timing me. Okay, so here's my back skirt. I'm gonna lay out my fake pattern pieces. My regular camera is in the way here. I think I told you guys, like, I looked at all of my photos I took for all my patterns, the home sew patterns I'm making, and they're not high resolution. And so, yeah, I need to retake all my pictures. It's not a big deal. I don't mind sewing things over and over again, you know. Where's my cherry pie? I haven't seen my cherry pie for a little. Oh, it's on the floor. Okay, forget it. Why does my cherry pie keep falling off the floor lately? Oh, really, Unica? You stream, you diamond painting when you sew. Wait a minute. I gotta check this out. That's true, Betsy, right? Okay, so I have some pins in it. I just need a couple pins for my dart. So you might like this tip, Unica, how I like to mark my dart. Because darts are really great for shaping, especially for the bust. But darts and princess seams are kind of where it's at. So I'm the size 12, which is this little dotted line here. So I'm going to poke in there. And then I'm going to just hold the pin and kind of rip through my tissue. Can't see it's a black pin though. Wow. How did I pick 2 black pins? What are the odds of that? Let's do a yellow and a blue. All right, so what's better is if your fabric, you mark these on the wrong side like this. So I'm just going to poke in right where that pin is going through. Poke through both there. Because I need this on the wrong side. Get rid of that one. So now I have my pin going on the wrong side, and I just secure it that way. So I know where the pin went in is the tip of the dart. Kind of need those. Bye, Ida. Hasta mañana, iguana. You peaked, Julia? You mean you peaked? That's awesome. Okay, so, all right, I'm on a timer. So basically all you need on the muslin is you need your shoulders, your side seams, your sleeve, and that's about it. Any shaping things like the darts, you don't need your pockets, you don't need your facings. You just need basically a shell. All right, so here's my first dart. Darts are always first. You line up your did I not clip that? Oh yeah, it's right there. Okay, I can barely see my little clip. Okay, there's my clip. I fold it along this point line right here to where the pin went in to do my dart. So if you're new here, I feel like I see a few new faces here. Welcome. Oh, yeah, I can turn autofocus off. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me of that. Now you know what it's like. Okay, let me get a drink of water. I'll be right back. Okay. I'm sorry, I have to chew gum. I still have allergies. Yeah, autofocus is questionable. I'm so white right now. There we go. I had that issue, Miriam, when I was sewing a plaid recently, and it'll actually make the camera go bonkers. All right, so here we go. So I'm actually, I'll sew my darts properly. Typically what I would do is not back tack, and I'm not going to. I'll stick with my way. So I hand tie my darts, which on a muslin I normally wouldn't. I would just backstitch there. You're doing this for speed. Like, I've been in fittings and working for garment companies where the fit model is there. We're paying them by the hour, and I'm like, can I just do this really quick, and then I'll run next door, make a minor change, cut one out, and see if I'm closer. Because sometimes, you know, you are maybe doing something your company hasn't done before, and you're kind of really trying it out. So. My thread is doing something weird. So here we go. Oh my gosh. It's like watching me thread a needle. I didn't backstitch here, so I'm just going to backstitch. All right, so we have our top and front. Here's our back. So I would also cheat on setting in the sleeve on this as well. Meaning I'll do it flat. So we need our shoulder seams. You know, the thing to remember when you go to fit this is that some of the seam allowances are still there, like the neck, you know? So if you're like, the neck is a little bit too far in, remember that the seam allowance is still sitting there, and you didn't take it off with the facing or whatever the usual, you know, whatever you're going to be doing. All right, so I do still need to ease in my sleeve. I can't get away from that. But it's great practice, right? Because we know how much you guys love doing this. I'm going to put in my basting stitch. I just run it between the notches. And we'll pull up a little bit like this. But we'll do it flat. Like usually I would do this so that you do the underarm seam first and then set your sleeve in. I feel like it's cheating because a sleeve will fit better and work better if you set it in rather than sewing it flat like this. It's really easy also for people to cheat and not
that like chop off a little bit extra sleeve. If they, both options are viable, Betsy. You can do whatever you want. But I do really like setting in the sleeve. Okay, so I have my, I'm just gonna push my shoulder seam to the back. That's probably what I would do in the finished. Line up my notch with the shoulder. No problem. This is a pretty easy one to set in. But people will, they will, because it's open at the underarm, they will sometimes just chop off the extra sleeve. They'll cheat that way. When you set it in, you can't do that. Sorry I have to chew gum, you guys. Wait a minute. Did I just put my sleeve on back? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That said that had one notch. Right? I cut it a little short there. All right, and then you can do your underarm. Push the dart seam down. Why am I getting all these threads? And then push your sleeve seam, your underarm seam towards the sleeve. You can iron this if you want as you're going, but we're just doing a muslin. No big deal. So push the dart down. It's on the bias on mine, so I'm going to be careful not to stretch. Push your sleeve seams towards the sleeve, or your underarm seam, your armhole seam. Oh my God. I switched cameras and then I kind of started getting kooky. Okay, so I probably won't do my whole cuff, but I will, when I go to try it on, I'll iron it so that it is really close to how it's going to be. And so what you do is fold it along the middle fold line, turn under your edge and stitch it down. Admittedly, that would be easier if the sleeve were flat, but you don't want to do that because you really want this seam to be finished right here. And then once that's stitched down, your sleeve can cuff up over it like that. All right, so I'm doing this quick and dirty right now. Louise caught me. But when I do my actual garment, you guys know I'm gonna do all that proper for you. But we're just doing a muslin. I still have to ease my sleeve in, Louise, but yeah, you're right. I am. I'm cheating on my muslin. They hear me say this a lot, Betsy, apparently. All right, so pull up your threads. I just kind of pull up a bunch. You don't want gathers in there, right? So I just pull up a bunch so much until there's no gathers. Like there's to where it's almost going to start gathering on itself. That's how I should say that. But yeah, I mean, if you are more motivated to sew your muslin by taking some of these shortcuts, that's right, Miriam. Miriam said half the reason to know the rules is to know when you can cheat. And this is a great time to cheat. Like, would I cheat on someone's wedding dress muslin? Nope. Or my teenage daughter's like prom dress? No. And mainly because you darn well want your teenager to be happy because you're going to hear about it if they aren't, right? So, okay, so I gathered this up a little too much, and I have my gathers kind of low on the sleeve, which means it might fit a little weird. Remember, it's on the bias. It's not going to be too hard to try on. We're doing all kinds of extras on this thing, but I'm kind of excited about it. I'm excited about this fabric. It looks less old lady-ish in person. Promise. Ooh, I feel like I just got a tuck. I may have just gotten a tuck. But I don't care because it's my muslin. Yeah, I mean that's what it takes, Unica. I mean, I feel like I remember really pivotal moments in learning how to sew, and like I just remember like really pivotal moments where it's like I decided that no, I wasn't going to accept whatever I had just done, and because it wasn't that great. Like, I feel like I have moments like that all the time, you know? Like, we have moments like that. But there are definitely moments where you're like, no, not today, machine. I'm the boss, and we're doing this my way. And then suddenly my sewing would get a lot better after that, you know? And projects that made me cry. I remember those. I still have projects that I want to throw in the trash. Doesn't happen as often now, but you know, they happen. Okay, so my bodice is done. This is how that's all I would do for the sewing. I'd find my fold lines for my sleeve, because see, we have this notch, and this notch, and it's this one, this middle one here. And then we would iron it like that. And then once that's sewn, your sleeve cuffs over itself like that. All right. So here's our skirt. Now I think because of this little fold over bit, I'm actually just going to fold it over and hem it, so I have a good idea of where it's actually landing, since I'm a little worried about this, you know, slit to my navel. Oh gosh. Yeah, you can use pillowcases and curtains. Yeah. Yeah, right, Unica? I mean, I definitely have been there where I'm like, just terrible. I mean, and I remember some of those pivotal moments. I was actually working at a fabric store, and they were a little bit snobby, for lack of a better word. And they weren't. I mean, they really just wanted me to push myself. I had been to fashion school. I was a good sewer, and they just saw that I could do even better than what I was doing. And I didn't know there was better. I didn't want better. It was more of a thing out of obstinance for my age. Like, being the age I was, like, I literally just hemmed that so sloppily, you guys, but it's because I just want to know where it's at. Right, exactly, Betsy. We really grow. You don't even know what's happening sometimes. Yeah, and so I just remember being like, it's good enough. It doesn't need to be perfect, you know? And I don't believe it needs to be perfect now, but it's a different kind of not needing to be perfect. I don't think your stuff needs to look as good on the inside as it is on the outside. I've gone through that phase, and it was great, and it pushed my sewing skills, but I'm not walking down a runway. I'm not selling my clothing. I'm not couture. So I do want my stuff to look really nice. I want it to last a long time. That's really what I want. I definitely want to be proud that I made it. And that's where it stops. All right, so there's my sloppy hem. So this is my front, and that's my back. All right. All right, so let's see. I'm not even following the directions, so hopefully I'm going to do this correctly. But I'm pretty sure the back overlaps towards the front. I'm going to mark my center of my skirt. and the center of my bodice waist, front and back. I just do a little nip. You know, Unica, I feel like the one thing that helps me and anyone learning to sew is, and I still do this to this day, I always look at the stuff in my closet or on the rack. And if you're here long enough, you'll hear some of my stories. I've literally bought every single size in a garment to do comparisons and sizing. You do what you got to do. And then I returned them. Thanks, Target. Okay, so since I'm doing this kind of quick and dirty, I'm going to line up my center fronts like this. I'm going to sew from the inside of the bodice right now. Because I sew on an industrial machine and my machine bed is flat with the table, it's just easier for me to have my garment going like this around the sewing machine head, because I don't have a free arm on this machine. Now I do have this notch, which is my side seam. That doesn't change. And I got to be careful because this is all in the bias. So I'm just going to tack my front here so that I don't have to sit here and fiddle with my back. But I think my back goes over my front. Oh well, I'll do it this way for now. I started with my front thinking, oh, this will help me get my back over my front, but I have to do different now. Right? It doesn't take that long to get your stuff looking as nice. Because you know, when you're first learning to sew, you're learning how to do a billion things at one time. You're learning how to operate a machine. You're learning how to construct a 3D object. You're learning how to work with fabric. And you're learning how to follow instructions, how to fit. You're learning so many things at once. And once you start getting a handle on a few of those things and you're not thinking about them constantly while you're trying to think about all these other things constantly, you can start refining some of the things you've already learned and getting better at them. And if a project's really not going that great, just set it aside. Don't drive yourself nuts. It's not worth it. We don't do this because it's cheaper, right? Or faster. We do it because we have specific goals in mind. So I think I just sewed this where the front is overlapping the back. It's okay. It's my muslin. Maybe I'll like it better that way. You never know. And I'm sewing this now the wrong way up on my machine. I hate it when I do this. Look at, see, so now I have, here's my whole circle of my garment and it's underneath. And I hate it when I do this to myself because now I have to fuss with it as I sew. I didn't set it up well just because I'm trying to do it quickly. Sometimes, you know, don't you ever find like when you're rushing out the door or you're in a real big hurry, you drop more things and it ends up taking you longer than if you were just calm, cool, and collected? That is me 100%. Okay, my muslin is done. Yeah, I did overlap it to the back. That's okay. It's on the bias. I'll press some of these folds out. So here's my overlap. Right here. Look at that. That's a lot of overlap. So maybe it'll be, you know, I don't have to worry. I got my short sleeve with the cuff. Got the ease in there, you can see it for the gush of my arm. And then there's my V-neck right there, ready to try on. Right, you do nicer sewing for your loved ones, exactly. That's right, Unica, don't give up. Just keep doing it. Sometimes you don't have to sew a whole garment either. You can just cut out the little part that's bugging you and sew it a few times and watch videos. It's so nice that nowadays we have videos. Like I didn't have that when I was learning to sew. I just had a few grouchy old women in my life. Legit. One of them was a struggle. So I know, Betsy, exactly. Like so many ready to wear things aren't really that sewn that well. That's right, Betsy. That's awesome. You made a clip, Myrna. I was just telling someone how comfortable that dress is. So comfortable. Yeah, I mean, you know, one of my pet peeves is when someone will say, well, it's easy for you. You know, like when I sew something, and I just think, that's just like, I could spend an hour saying why that statement bugs me. Because it better be easy for me first and foremost, because I put in the time, and if it wasn't easy for me, I shouldn't be sitting here, you know. No one in this chat has ever said that to me, and I really appreciate that, because it's not always easy for me. Sometimes the simplest thing will make me screw up too. So, all right, how did I do, Betsy? How was I close to the 10-minute mark? I wasn't even trying, and then right at the end I was like, oh, that's right. So, okay, so now we have this muslin. I'm gonna try it on. I'm gonna check this sleeve, see how it fits, see if I like the cuff once I iron it. Maybe I'll sew one of them. So this is the other thing on a muslin. Most typically, I would only put in one sleeve. I wouldn't put in the other sleeve. So that's another thing. If that gets you motivated to do it, do it. Okay, so let's see here. I want to see if the sleeve's going to fit well. Right? You don't wear a watch. All right, so let's I'll just eyeball this. I'm trying to think if I've ever done clothing for drag. I don't think I have. I mean, I think I have, but more in a costume capacity, which isn't drag at all. Eyeballing my sleeve. My threads, my machine's leaving really long tails of threads, kind of bugging me. All right, so I'll fit this. Let me take out my gathering stitch, because it's just so satisfying to do. I got the nicest email from someone today. Is that you, Jan, that sent me that nice email? Someone sent me a really nice email today, and it's like that kind of thing. I occasionally get a nice email from someone. I got one. You guys, there's a message, a comment on one of my videos on YouTube, but from a 16-year-old girl learning to sew. That was just awesome. Made me feel really good. I don't know what I'm doing differently, but I really like that you guys are like, you're different, and I like it. So it's great. Right, Louise? I know there's so many options, so many great people out there with great information, and sometimes someone says it in a way that clicks for you, right? That's why I'm trying to work on the way I communicate. Sometimes I'll be like, now you just do this, and you sew that, and you turn it there, and it's like replacing those words with actual nouns, not like placeholders. That was a really nice email, Jan. Thank you. I really appreciated it. I didn't have time to respond to it because it was this morning and I was like trying to get out the door. Thank you. I love that. Right, Carol? Oh gosh. I so know that one. I think that's why people pushed me to be better. They were like, you have all this skill knowledge and you're a good sewer when you want to be. I was like, when I want to be. Yeah, Miriam. This was on her little blog tutorial, her pattern tutorials the Grainine Studio one. I'm not sure about it on the bias, so I can see that it might want to torque. But I think what I would do is probably make the cuff a little bit deeper. Just looking at it here. Or I would make a style where I would stitch along this edge to stabilize it. Or I would probably put some interfacing in the cuff itself just to also stabilize it. I'm so friendly. Till I'm playing video games. Then I'm like, hey kid, get out of my way. Oh, really, Julia? I have watched a few where I'm like, okay, I don't know about that. Yeah, Unica. Go as slow as you want. You're not doing this because it's faster. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know what you mean. If you're interfacing a bias piece, you use an interfacing like something stretchy, I wouldn't. It's not in a spot that needs to stretch, and I'm looking to stabilize it. So I think it would be fine. Yeah, I feel like streaming Unica is more about being available to the viewer too. Like if you want to like straight up, we're sewing the Uniform Tunic, start to finish, no stopping, no chatting. That's a different experience than you're going to find here. I'm trying to make myself available for people to ask questions or challenge me. I really like it when someone's like, that's the wrong way to do that. And then we can talk about like, oh, okay, what would you like to see? Why do you think it's the wrong way? You know? Oh, that's awesome. Co-host would be fun. My husband made an appearance and said hi once. Because he brought me a smoothie. It's his birthday today. I still haven't seen the shirt I made him on him because I went to the fabric store to get buttons and they didn't have any. They didn't have any buttons. Happy birthday, husband. Of course, my husband's birthday is the same as Harry Potter's J.K. Rowling's, right? Mr. Staring Me, I like that. Yeah, right, Unica? I totally know what you mean. Now, this stream is not as long as I thought it would be today, which is great. Nice, Julia. See, that's a good sign, right? When they wear their shirt twice in 1 week. That's awesome. I'll pass along all your birthday wishes to him, you guys. I almost forgot it was his birthday today because we went away for the weekend and we celebrated it with a little party last Friday. I was like, oh yeah, by the way, happy birthday. Oh, what have you found? Miriam's researching men's jeans patterns to make for her man. We did the Jutland pants here by Thread Theory. The way she sews the fly was a little tough for me to understand, so I think I kind of did my method with her method. And then little birthday cake, Elaine. What I will say about her men's patterns is that there's a lot of great options. And I think she really gets the idea of a men's wear look. Whereas like things I forget about that my man might want, like the little coin pocket. Yeah, right, Louise? I know. He liked the label. You're looking at Thread Theories. I'm curious to see what you end up with, Miriam. That'll be awesome. Thanks, Cheyenne. My guy is a pretty small guy. He's built like a road cyclist. And so those were a little full through the thigh and butt for him. They fit him really well, except they were a little full through there. So I would probably change that. Yeah, exactly, Unica. I do some pre-recorded videos. I've done a few. I do some quick how-tos, and I've done a few sew-throughs. Not very many, mainly because I really like being live with you guys, and I'm working on these home sew patterns from my previous business. And so I need to get those off my plate before I add too much more here. But you guys, tomorrow, so I'm going to try this on. We'll see how it goes. If there's some interesting pattern changes that I think you guys would find useful, I'll show you them and we'll cut it together. But if you're okay with it, you've seen me cut one of these out in muslin. I'm going to cut this out in my fabric if it fits okay. And then we're going to sew it up tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific. And it's going to be my 100th upload. So that's pretty cool. Your husband likes his Jetlins, Carol? That's cool. And he wears them? There you go, Miriam. So Miriam, we did the Jetlin and I added a yoke to the back. I forgot I'd done that. Oh, thanks, Unica. Yeah, I'm going to check out your page. I want to see what you do. I watch mostly Twitch streamers. I hardly watch any YouTube streamers. So bad since I'm a YouTuber. But I like gaming. I watch a lot of gamers. That's how I found streaming. So if that all sounds good to you guys, we'll see how this looks. If I can, I will take a picture of myself wearing the muslin, but we'll see. I know, Malin. Can you believe it? Malin, you've been here since the beginning. Yeah, that's awesome, Unica. I would totally do that. What about cutting up outfits and sewing them back together? We've done a stream where well, did we do that, you guys? I feel like I addressed some issues with some of my past makes. I just took a shirt of my own. I should have done this with you guys. I know that. I converted it into a tank top. Night, Betsy. Hasta mañana, iguana. Yeah, Twitch is fun. Do you game, Jan? You might like it. There's some crafters and people on there. I'm going to check out what Unica does because she might do well on there. Do you prefer she, Unica, or he? There's not a lot of crafters and makers, but Miriam's on there and she streams. And she's on Twitch chatting to us right now too. And she does all kinds of amazing stuff. Everything from making leather sandals and leather bags to sewing up a wet dress for a wedding for herself to wear. I've seen her do all kinds of stuff on there. And she's super casual. Mr. Mubu Games. I don't know what that is. I'm going to check that out. You prefer whatever. Okay. Oh, you don't at all? Okay, Jen. Yeah, it's not for everybody. I really like gaming and I watch a lot of Fortnite streams. Fortnite's a really fun game to watch play, but it's not for everybody. Most people, like my husband, would just fall asleep instantly if I made him watch that. It's kind of like if I watch a soccer game with him, right? It's just a game. That's the way I look at it. Oh, bummer, Unica. That's a bummer. Man, the technology stuff with streaming is no joke, right? This is a lot of things to deal with. Okay, so I hope all those details sounded good, you guys. I'll try this on right away. See if my overlap worked. It's on the bias as well. You can see my little flowers going sideways. It's looking like doesn't this look like a 40s flapper muumuu slash, it looks a little big. I hate it when I think one of my things looks a little big and then it fits me perfectly. Good night, Louise. Hasta mañana, iguana. So I'm eager to try this on. So I'll let you guys know. And then we'll make no joke whatsoever. Exactly. I know. The technology stuff is crazy. That's what I say. Like, there's literally, I've streamed and I'm silent for a while because I forgot to turn my mic on. Now I just leave it on all the time. I just don't turn it off. Because I'll press the button and nothing will happen. And then I'll press the button and it will. That's just the tip of the iceberg. I've told people, I'm like, yeah, the things I've learned in comments on YouTube thing, like I'll look up a YouTube video on how to do something and I won't find what I need, but I'll find it in the comments. Like, that's the level of crazy technology crap. All right, you guys, I'm going to sign off as well. I will see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific. And I'm really excited to sew this. This will be really fun. My name is Saramy. It rhymes with Jeremy, like Jeremy with an S. Today was the first day in a long time I've introduced myself at the very beginning, but you probably missed it. And I'm really glad you know like how to chat and stream too. A lot of people, I know a lot of people just like to join and watch, which is awesome too. We love having you. All right. I will see you. Yeah, I feel fine. It's just these weird allergies affecting my throat. So silly. Going to the coast was good. Different allergens, right? Okay, guys. Well, have a great day. I will see you tomorrow. Thanks very much for coming. It was really nice to see you guys. I missed you. It's been like almost a week. And usually we are, sewing every Thursday and Saturday. But non-availability makes you crazy. Oh, thanks, Unica. Thanks for coming. I hope that, I do have a few like really beginning how-to videos, but they're probably too beginning for you, but they're kind of useful, like how to line up seams, because a lot of people miss a certain little thing about that. They're really short. I try and keep them short. Buttons for your S-race are supposed to be here. Sarah, right? I need buttons. I just want some simple navy blue little buttons. I don't want to go join fabrics. Okay. Bye, guys. I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for coming, and have a great rest of your day.